My mum came round to stay a few days, just two days basically, and she's actually coming back later to pick up the rest of her stuff. And by the time I post this or publish this podcast, she would have gone back home. She wanted to come round Tuesday night, but Monday night I got no sleep at all. So I said, come round Wednesday night. Wednesday night we had a lot of fun, watching Netflix and music videos and YouTube. And the place looked really nice because I had candles lit everywhere. There was about 30 candles lit, and my mum came in and said, "What is the celebration?" But I just like to have a lot of candles lit, and the place just looks so beautiful with all those candles. And we had a talk about certain things, but I've got to be honest with you, I'm not feeling great. It's been a roller coaster of a ride on YouTube for the past year, and particularly I would say for the past 5 or 4 months. So there's a lot of mixed emotions in me, and I've been emotional. And some people have asked me or questioned, did I like Bam? Um, do I care how she felt about me in the end? And I really don't. I don't care how she felt about me in the end. I think she was in decline in in the last few months in every way. Um, I don't think she was at her optimum health, either emotionally, psychologically, mentally, physically. Um, and I think that she took whatever was going on inside of her. I think she took it out on other people. So I really didn't like that side of her. I didn't like her in the end. So I really don't care how she felt about me in the end. Doesn't matter now. Anyway, um, I liked the version of her that I met or that I was introduced to, that I got to know initially. That version of her was nice, but she turned into, she really, really, as far as I'm concerned, and I maintain that in the last few months, she got really short tempered with people. She got more extreme in her behavior. Um, she was talking pure fantasy about certain things. AD's going to get compensation, and she would say things as if they were fact because she wanted to believe them. Emma Kenny is trying to take my content. She said to me once that JC and Salty were trying to take my content, and basically the Claire Morgan thing was her thing, and she didn't want anyone else talking about it. And I hadn't realized at the time. Sometimes you have to listen back to voicemails to get, because there's so many voicemails to go through that I just don't remember everything on every voicemail unless I listen back. She called her subs losers for listening to Salty and JC going into their chat. I remember somebody coming into her live stream. This is when I'd left her channel, but I would still listen periodically just to see, what she was going on about this time. And all this person was saying was just correcting her on something, and she got short tempered with them and got them out of her channel immediately. Her behavior was just very erratic. She was aggressive. She was short tempered. She was temperamental. And obviously, we all know about her ranting. She wasn't a nice person by the time that I'd stopped being friends with her. And I'm realizing now that it's February was when I got the email from her last email. And the February was the last email. Last February was the last email that I sent her. And I haven't really spoken to her directly for about a year, until she made that community post about me, which I've print screened, and everything happened in perfect timing. I mean, she made that community post going after me because I'd said something. I was allowed to give my opinion on a podcast, and she didn't like that. She should, if she wanted nothing to do with me, she shouldn't have continued to listen to me afterwards, and she shouldn't have tried to engage with me in any way. But that's how she was. Short tempered, always had a problem with somebody. If she didn't like your opinion, she'd go after you. She just, I'm wondering now, and this is what I actually meant to say. I'm wondering now, did Bam know all this time she was doing her live streams and going on night after night for hours and hours and hours? Did she know that she was about to depart? Did she know that she was about to go home, or that she was going home very soon? Did she know? That's what I would like to, sometimes I wonder with some of the things that she said to me, did she know that, she was running out of time? That's what I wonder, because I had a teacher like that. I had a teacher that didn't like me. I once did something very stupid. I left my bag on the stairs when I was about 11, when I was going to school. It was a wide staircase, really wide. And this particular teacher, who didn't like me, who always was picking on me, took the bag up, put it in the staff room, and wouldn't give me my bag back until the end of, until the end of school, and end of the school day. And she was, in the staff room looking at me and laughing. And she really didn't like me, and she liked to pick at me. And about 6 months after that, I found out that she wasn't very well, came to school, saw her in a wheelchair, and that was basically the end of her. I remember standing in front of her and looking down at her, and she wouldn't make eye contact with me, this teacher. So, and she was always short-tempered before she departed. So I do wonder if Bam knew that she was going to leave us. And that's why she was the way she was. And that's why she escalated and deteriorated in the last few months. Who knows? One thing I did find out is that she wasn't the age that she claimed she was. She was a few years older than what she said she was. And somebody who preached honesty and told me that she ran her channel on truth, and claimed not to like dishonest people, and claimed that various people didn't tell the truth, including the Ruseks. For somebody who said that she ran her channel on truth, well, it turns out she was older than she claimed she was. If the dates on her memorial site are correct, I would rather call it a celebration of life site than what it's called. She shaved a few years off of her age. I did think she was older than what she claimed, because she definitely looked older. But she wasn't the beacon of honesty like she preached, was she? I'm going to admit that I'm going to find this part of the podcast a bit challenging to record, because I am going through so many different emotions. Bam told me a few secrets, and she actually did tell me on quite a few occasions that she didn't feel well. And she said she'd bounce back, but I wish I had known more at the time. Maybe she did know. I wish I had known more at the time, but I just thought she had the flu or something. And it was more than that. She also told me, about her marriage and how it wasn't all that great, and how she had to do a lot of cooking. And there's a recording of her telling me, when Bam got an idea, when an idea came into her head, she would become completely fixated with it or obsessed. She wanted me to do a video, and she's telling me, get that video up straight away, get it up fast. And she goes through a list of tags that she wants me to put under this particular video that she wants me to put up. I never ever did that video that she wanted me to put up. And sometimes I wonder if she started to realize that I wasn't going to be one of her, I don't know. I think Bam saw people as people that she could use. I think she saw everybody as an extension of herself, rather than people as individuals. She didn't see people as individuals. She saw people as, how can she use them to benefit herself? That's how she saw people, how she could use them to prop herself up. She's telling me to do this video, get it up right now, get it up fast, put tags on it. And she doesn't seem to realize that I'm not someone you can tell what to do. Also, she didn't seem to care that I had no interest in the subject that this video was supposed to be about. And it was about somebody, and it was, she wanted me to make parallels or comparisons to Martin Dehan with this video. And she was just, get the video up fast. I don't think she realized who she was talking to. I'm not somebody that you can tell what to do. I'm just not that way inclined. And I don't think she cared that I had no interest in in the person that she wanted me to do a video about. I had no interest in doing it. She, and I've said this, Bam liked people, or rather, I don't think she liked anyone, but I would say she rather preferred people she could control and influence. Manipulate is the key word. So that ruled me out. She wanted loyalty and complete devotion and someone she could use. I was no longer useful to her for these reasons, because I'm opinionated, because I'm independent minded, because I'm not somebody that she could control. And I realize now that she was watching my interactions with others. She read everything. She read comments. She would pretend that she wasn't reading comments and pretending that she wasn't watching your content, but she was. She was reading comments, and she was watching you all the time, and she was watching me all the time, and she was watching my interactions with EK. For some reason, I never saw the live streams or heard the live streams that she did about EK, or me. As a matter of fact, I knew nothing about those. I don't know how I missed those. I would periodically, even when I left the channel, after I left the channel, like I said, I would periodically listen just to see if she changed or, what she was talking about this time. But I never heard the live streams that she did about EK. EK and I got along very well. We were very similar minded, and we had differing opinions to Bam, and I don't think she liked that. I also gave I also gave EK quite a lot of attention, and I would pin her comments. Bam would come to my channel and she would write something about Claire Morgan, and you know what her language is like, and it would be like 5 words, and it would be colorful language, whereas EK would come to my channel and she would write a constructive sentence with paragraphs. And even though sometimes her comments were very long, I thought her input, her comments were well executed and well articulated, her opinions. And so I would pin a lot of EK's comments, and I don't think Bam liked the fact that I would pin EK's comments over hers. And I think that was the start of her dislike of EK. That's my personal opinion. She would try and tell people what to do with their channels. As far as I know, EK told me that Bam tried to get her to take down a tribute video she'd done of Shanann. She was a very controlling person. But I think everyone is allowed to say the type of relationship they had with Bam. One-on-one, talking to Bam one-on-one was very, very different to listening to her long live streams. One-on-one, she was kind, she was funny, she was a good listener, she was revealing, she told you a lot about herself. Now I know what she was doing behind the scenes. I'm glad that I actually never phoned her. All our correspondences offline were done by email or voicemail. All of them. None was done by phone. But I have a voicemail of her saying to me, she wanted me to ring her. She was always wanting me to ring her. Now I know what she was doing with recordings. I'm glad that I never rang her. But she would tell me that she wanted me to ring her. She would say, you should ring me. I never did. I also never used an email that had my full name. I've got 2 emails. I've got one with my full name, and I've got one with my business name and my first name, and that's it, but not my full name. I never completely trusted her for some strange reason. After a while, the stuff that she was saying about, I couldn't listen to her without her saying something about, it seems like she was always bringing up the qualifications and education that she had. That was very, very tiring. That got very tedious listening to that. I don't care about what qualifications people have. That's never a factor when it comes to me being friends with somebody. I've been speaking to Kaysway a wee bit, by email. I trust Kaysway. And until she proves that I can't trust her, I will trust her. I trust her. I think she's a good person. And I think her first video about Bam was absolutely spot on. Kaysway is not egotistical. She's not interested in being, Bam wanted attention, credit, complete devotion. She was all ultimately about herself. There is a talk of Bam raising money for Kaysway and raising money for people and helping people with their animals and all that. And I personally know, because the conversations that we have, yes, she did help people, but she would often resent helping somebody in the end, especially if that person took attention away from her. Bam was all ultimately about herself and, getting attention, getting credit. She wanted credit for contacting the press over the paywall photos. She constantly wanted acknowledgement. You could not, her ego was never fed, never. And so that was one of the reasons why I decided not to be involved with her channel after a certain time. And, I've got mixed emotions. Part of me, I want to say, to her family and to her daughter, she loved her kids. She loved her family. She proudly sent me photographs of her family. She proudly sent me photographs of her dog, Fluky. I think she was probably a good mother. She loved her family. She was looking forward to seeing her daughter get married. She was very excited about that. I have mixed emotions about her. On one hand, I feel, compassion, particularly for her family, and on the other hand, there is some kind of, at least her reign is over in terms of how she would go at people. And people have different experiences with her. Some people have wonderful experiences with her, wonderful memories of her, and they're allowed to share their wonderful experiences with her and how they're gonna and how she helped them. That's absolutely fine. But not everyone will have the same experience, and you have to understand that everyone has a different experience with her. I didn't like how she became fixated with the Rusex. I didn't like how she talked about Shanann. I didn't like how she behaved in the end. She's not somebody that I would have wanted to kept in communication with. Now, I will admit that I did email her to confirm, to get confirmation of the breaking news. It's the only, recently I did email to see, is this, ask, is this true? And of course there was no reply because, she can't reply. But, I didn't want to have any intimacy with her after a certain time. I knew that something was going on with her, and I knew she was turning. And, but, people who love her and have had good experiences with her, they're allowed to share that. Not everyone's experience with Bam will be the same experience. My experience with her is it started out great, and then she turned. And, I'm allowed to share that with people, and people are allowed to share the good experiences they had with her. Everyone's experience will be different. I did say that one-on-one, she was a very, different person, much nicer. But even in our private conversations, she would really go on and on about how she was educated and about her qualifications and her education, and it got so monotonous. And that's never a reason why I would become friends with somebody. I don't care about someone's academic intelligence or qualifications. It's never a factor. And I'll tell you a little secret. All two of my uncles, which include and my dad, the three brothers, all of them are successful in their own right, or they've had success in their own right. My uncle, the one that's most successful, doesn't have any formal qualifications, doesn't have a formal education. He became the executive of the most popular food franchise in the world, but he started out as a dishwasher, and he just happened to work his way up to the highest position. And he was just happened to be very, very good with people. He was very charming. He was a people person, and he just managed his life very well. He had a strong work ethic. but he doesn't have formal, a formal education or anything like that. And he's probably worth probably between 3.5 million to 5 million. Has a huge, has a very large house in a very nice area. But he was, all he was very narcissistic. All three of the brothers are narcissistic, and that includes my dad. And they're all successful in their own right. And my dad and my other uncle, who is a lawyer with his own law firm, they have more formal education than the more successful brother. But anyway, this particular brother, who's the most successful and the executive of a food franchise, and I used to be very close to him when I was young. He's one of these people, you will go out with him at a function and he'll find a woman to charm. Once we were sitting around a table and he was talking to this woman and he completely charmed the pants off of this woman. She got up to use the bathroom and he turned to me and he started telling me how, he thinks this woman has fallen for him, and started laughing at her basically because he just thought he had her in the palm of his hand. And this is the type of person he was. On the surface, successful, nice, charming, but he thought he was smarter than other people. And he shared his tricks and his tactics and his secrets with me of how he charmed people. And I honestly think that his charm is one of the keys to his success. But he didn't have the qualifications, he didn't have the education. What he had was a strong work ethic and a way with people that he could charm people. That was the key to his success. So, qualifications, they're just a piece of paper for me. I'm not saying that education isn't important. Both my parents are educated, both of them have degrees, but for me it's not anything that I would look at when it comes to befriending somebody. And bam, her heavy emphasis on the outer appearance and qualifications. And her dad apparently managed Michael Jackson, and all the things that she came up with, all of those things were very monotonous as far as I'm concerned. And it kind of left a taste in my mouth that wasn't very pleasant. She was just so self-flattering that it just became overwhelming for me. And then the other things that she did as well, which I'll talk about those things more at a more appropriate time. But I just wanted to share that little story with you, and I will close and finish here.